Why are people selfish?
Reciprocity is an ongoing cycle, and some people never had anyone to start it spinning.
Yes, true selflessness is born out of love.
But it's hard to love somebody who's selfish.
It's not selfish to look after what's important. It's just that in our case, we're always what's important.
Why are people selfish?
We're hardwired to look after ourselves in a crisis. And sometimes life feels like a constant crisis.
When your struggle feels endless, it's hard to find time for others. When your desires are insatiable, it's hard to find time for others.
When your clock is ticking, it's hard to find time for others.
Why are people selfish?
Even the greediest wolf can't hold more than he can carry. Selfishness has got something to do with pockets.
Yes, once you can store more than you need to convince people that you deserve more than you need. And why would anyone want to help those who are less deserving than them?
We teach people to share in their good fortune, but people severely underestimate how much of what they have is due to good fortune.
Why are people selfish?
Everyone has problems, and we prioritize solving the ones that we personally face. To stop acting selfishly, we need to be selfish and realize that the causes of those problems can only be addressed if we work together.
Yes, we're in the kitchen arguing over scraps because we've been convinced that the feast we prepared is not for us.
It's not selfishness, it's responsibility, something my son will realize when he grows up and learns to be pragmatic and to show some respect.
What does it mean to be pragmatic?
It depends on the context. A glass slipper is a very practical choice for a dramatic arrival, less useful if you need to make a quick getaway.
It depends on the stakes. Pursuing an impossible dream is more pragmatic than enduring a waking nightmare.
It depends on your priorities. Do you want it to be easy, cheap, fast, or good?
It depends on your time frame. Very little is impossible if in my lifetime is not a requirement.
What's pragmatic?
The idea that we should abandon lofty ideals in favour of practicality. In my own work, I've found that there's little conflict between beauty and utility.
In a world where everything is judged by how useful it is, there's a strange allure to the intentionally useless.
When our ancestors first saw a bushfire, did they investigate it because they knew it would make their food safer and easier to process? Or did they do it out of curiosity and fascination? Practical uses often arise from impractical pursuits.
What's pragmatic?
Sometimes people will tell you to use a chisel instead of an axe because it's the right tool for the job. But sometimes they just want to slow you down. If you're not careful, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. It can become don't let the good be the enemy of the okay. It's a slippery slope to mediocrity.
Your plan to make things better isn't pragmatic. Better to stick with the old way and its consistent and familiar 100% failure rate.
It's impossible because we won't try, and we won't try because it's impossible.
It's difficult to maintain a system that prevents people from following their dreams. It's much easier to trick people into only dreaming of things that are compatible with the system.
Yes, when you're focused on finding the best move in a game, it's easy to forget that the rules are entirely made up.
Some rules are made by man, and they can be changed. But some rules are facts of nature, and nature was made up by a being more powerful than you can possibly imagine. It's irresponsible not to accept that.
Are humans responsible?
I often hold myself responsible for things I have no control over, then feel so down about it, I fail to act when I could have an impact.
When they want to be, they'll take the credit for their creations, then abandon them when it gets difficult.
My services are in high demand because humans consider themselves responsible for fulfilling their own wishes. They'll consistently wish for things that they cannot achieve alone.
I'm responsible for following the script to the best of my ability, but I didn't write it.
Are humans responsible?
If anything happens to me, I will consider them so.
I think we all feel responsible for protecting those we love, but we often fail.
The only way we can really protect the people close to us is to build a world that protects everyone.
Responsibility is the price of greatness, I claim, before denying any responsibility for the plight of those who suffer so I can be great.
We're responsible for the choices we make in a given situation.
But we're often not responsible for everything that brought that situation about.
We'll always do our best to catch the ball, but sometimes it was just a bad throw.
I'm sitting in my castle, telling you you're responsible for your situation because the hole you live in could be bigger if you spent less time sleeping and more time digging.
Okay, everyone has issues with how we think about responsibility. Now I need one of your trademark positive spins.
Yes, he's gone. Let's see how you and my son cope without your emotional support lizard.
How can I help a friend?
Some wonder why people complain about their problems if they don't want help with them. But life is an ongoing struggle, and while help may momentarily ease our burden, knowing we are not alone can strengthen our every step.
Not seeing the meaning in a piece of art is only a barrier to appreciation if it causes you to immediately dismiss it as meaningless. Sometimes it's not being understood that helps, but the realization that someone wants to understand.
You've got to have their back.
We literally have each other's back.
But the metaphorical version is fine too.
How can I help a friend?
We are shaped by our world, and our world is shaped by our friends.
Just make their world a bit more bearable.
We all want to tell our friends that everything's going to be okay. But sometimes what they need to hear is that we'll be there, even if it's not.
We often try to help by encouraging people to do what we would do if we were in their situation. But it's better to remember why you like a person and help them do what the best version of themselves would do in that situation.
I've had loads of good advice, but none of it is any help if I can't find Godzilla.
Perhaps you don't need to help Godzilla. Perhaps you need to help the friend who'll help you find him.
I know why you're here, but I can't accept that he's gone.
I don't want you to accept it. You're the one who taught me not to placidly accept the way the world is. I'm just here to keep you company.
Wait, no. I didn't mean people shouldn't accept the status quo because they hate the way things are. Don't reject reality. Seek to change it.
King Kong said that. You should probably listen to him.
Yes. Let's find our friend.
How would you hide something?
I hide who I am to protect myself. But if I hide the real me well enough, that's not really me anymore.
I became a hide-and-seek champion by cultivating a reputation for being fictional. Even if people see me, they assume they didn't.
Some think that if an artist didn't intentionally conceal a meaning in their work, it's not there. But we hide things best when we're also doing it from ourselves.
Hiding evidence always gets you caught. I prefer to let it simmer into a hearty broth.
How would you hide something?
I'd build a labyrinth and place a fearsome yet handsome beast at its center. Then hide that which I wish to conceal somewhere else entirely.
Sometimes you can do the opposite and conceal things in the centre. The best place to hide a premise is in your conclusion.
Yes, those who stole for themselves a bounty I created for all attempt to hide their appropriation by accusing those who seek to take some back of theft.
Behind the market. Taxing me will hurt the economy is a much nicer way of saying, I'll only use my vast wealth for the public good if there's enough in it for me.
Mother Nature and Dragon are right. People hide things because possessing knowledge others lack grants you power over them. My father knows this. He's hidden Godzilla to get to me, so I will go to him. Where is he?
I'm your father. Forget that needlessly large iguana and show me some respect.
You're my father in all the ways that don't matter. He's my brother in all the ways that do. You don't want respect. You want me to stand up straight when I talk to you because you don't like being reminded that it's your chains dragging me down. I will find my friend, even if it means enlisting the help of a force far greater than you or me.
No.
Yes, I'm going to tell Mom.
Are humans respectful?
Adults will tell their children that playfully tugging at my beard is disrespectful, then turn around and claim that my entire existence is a lie.
They often say those they disapprove of lack self-respect, as if treating yourself with dignity involves hiding the parts that are too big for a small mind to cope with.
Don't ask me. I never know if someone's actually disrespecting me, or if my brain is interpreting something completely normal as disrespect because it's anxious and confused.
Are humans respectful?
They don't respect robots, but that's fine. We're not programmed to care. I do find it odd that so many of them are angry at us for replacing them, instead of at a world that by treating people as tools makes their replacement inevitable.
My human peers have this strange notion that they deserve the admiration of those who worked to make them wealthy. Respect me. I won a competition. First prize was the chance to not pay you enough.
In a world where personal relationships are replaced with financial ones, we all too often think of respecting rights as an acceptable equivalent to respecting people, even if those rights do nothing to prevent many from living in conditions that strip them of any notion that they are respected.
Are humans respectful?
They often think of respect as deference, but most ladders don't have infinite rungs. If respect requires deference, what happens to those at the bottom?
As with all things, the solution is a circle. It's easy to defer to you when you're right, if I know you'll defer to me when I am.
Your father never understood respect. He viewed it as an act of submission, achieved through the wielding of power, both real and symbolic. That's why my abdication broke him. He saw no difference between losing dominance and losing respect. But my ape army stands with me not because I wear a crown, but because I shattered it. Respect is not owed, or given, or earned. It is shared.
He kidnapped my friend.
He clings to symbols of lost greatness. I know where he'll be holding your friend. We march on the People's Mixed-Use Community Centre, formerly known as Castle.
So you're here. No matter. My army will join me soon and see you off.
Give us back Godzilla.
Sire, there's no food in the kitchen.
Plenty of soup over here.
The swords haven't been sharpened. The horses are not saddled. We cannot fight.
What happened?
I wish it was the weekend. Me too.
We often wish the world was different because we don't like the way it is. But we must face it as it is if we are to stand any chance of building the world we wish for.
So you think we should quit? Or get a side hustle?
Perhaps. Maybe you can grind your way to a better life. But why fight over a cookie, when if you work together, you can take the whole plate?
Look, we like what you're saying, but there's just two of us. Yeah, if we cause any trouble, will just be replaced.
Are you the only people working at the castle who are unhappy? A single cog can be replaced, but taken collectively, the cogs are the machine.
They're on strike.
Who is?
Everyone. You thought you could stand alone because you don't consider those who would make your stand possible people.
The hardest part of being self-reliant is figuring out how to forget all of those whose labour you rely on.
This isn't over.
It never is.
Every ending is temporary. That's why it's so important to enjoy the happy ones.